So CAD blocks are named group of objects. They act as a single 2D or 3D object, and you use them to create repeated content like drawing symbols, like your north point and symbols like that, common components like trees, furnitures and appliances, and any other standard details like even your section details or any other standard detail that has to be repeated, that we can create it as a block. Now the symbols and details that you insert into the drawings, they are called blocks, and they are also a collection of objects which are combined into a single named object. So if you take the sink here, this S1 is a sink, it has the sink and it also has the tap included in that. Similarly, you have so many other details here. If you take this, it is also a set of blocks can be made together as a single block, like this dining set here. So these chairs, they could have been they created as single block, a block, and then you create the whole dining set, and then you again create a block saying a dining set. You name it, you give a name to it. It's like a template of sorts. So these CAD blocks, they help you to save the time because you don't have to keep creating them repeatedly, again and again. So once you create one unit, you can just, again insert it or copy them to the file, and it maintains consistency. Means because it's going to be the same detail, you're not going to miss any details, because sometimes when you're copying things, you might miss some details, some small minute detail you might miss, or some details you might add to it when you're copying it. When you're having a very complicated drawing and it has too much of elements, that might happen. So with a block, it maintains consistency, and then it reduces the file size. The reason being because you're not recreating the elements, so it's just the same element and you're just copying onto it. So you're reducing the file size, and you can reuse it often. Reuse in the sense like you can have the same block, and if you want to make some changes, you can just make a copy of it and you can edit those things. So you can reuse the same block again and again, and you can share the content. When you say share the content, what we mean here is you can share it across different devices and across different files. It's not just to the one particular drawing that you've created it. It can be stored as a separate file, and that drawing file can be taken and used in some other drawing also. And it can be used across devices, and you can share them, like you can send it through email or share it through any other means that you want. So it's very easier to handle. So that's the advantage of using a CAD block. And when you're doing very huge drawings, even the windows, doors, we do that as blocks. And again, that keeps the consistency, because if you have already if you know that you have to create schedules. So these schedules are like for windows and doors. So those will have particular sizes. So it will say this is the window name and this is the size. So that kind of the size will not change when you use a block. So there is a group and a CAD block. So there was a question here about what is the difference between a CAD block and a group. So these are the main differences. So as you see, blocks, there are instances of master objects. So you have one object, so it might be within the file or in a separate file, and you are creating instances of it in a different file or the same file. But a group it's just, you have a set of objects and you just, group them together so that you can, take them to, you can manipulate them within the drawing. You can also name them. You can also have a named group and you can insert them. But the main advantage is in a block, if you change one block, it will reflect in all the blocks. In a group, if you make a change, it is only for that group. You will not see that reflection in another group. I will show you that in a few seconds here. So again, the other differences are, so it's a single object. When you say CAD block, it is a single object. It's not many objects. Many objects brought together, but still again, it is a single object. Whereas group, it's a set of objects. It is not one single entity. Maybe when you work with it, you feel that it is a single entity, but it's not a single object. Object means in CAD terms, it's one item. So group is not that. And CAD block, as I told you earlier, you can easily import it from any drawing or any existing blocks in any other drawing file to any other file. But groups have the advantage of, you combine the drawing objects and you can manipulate them within that drawing. It's not that you have to taking them to another file it's a tedious job. You can still take it, but it's a tedious job. It's not as easy as your block, and it is better. Group better works within that drawing. So let me show you here. I have a AutoCAD here. So let me show you what is the difference between a group and an block. Okay, so you see here, you see all these furnitures here, right? These are all blocks here. So if I click on that, right, so you can see, you see this name, right? Block reference, that's coming there. Can you see that context menu? So that's a block. But whereas if I say groups, you combine objects and make it a group. So for example, let me take this toilet design here. So if I have to make a group, what I do is, I select my objects, and let me also select this one. I just go here and click group, right? So for example, if I'm going to make a change in this group, right? I have to actually ungroup that before I do something. Okay, it's easier this way. So this is a block. Let me show it here. I told you, right? This is the major difference between a group and a block. So if I am edit this, I'll show you how to edit things. So for example, if I'm going to edit this one, let me just remove this. My mouse here is not cooperating with me. Please bear with me. Okay, and then I'm joining the lines here. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a join command to join these two lines, just to show you that the changes I'm making in this block, I'm not able to join this. So you see, I'm just working on this block, and you see that only this block is highlighted and all the other things have gone gray. And you can see the block that was here, the bed design in this bedroom, it's not there anymore. So I'm working on this block. So everything is kept in different realm. Okay, I'm not able to join this. Okay, let's forget this. So I made this change, and where's my thing here? Save changes. Okay, it says all ref edits would be. Now you see you didn't see this bed there. Now you can see the bed here, and everything is back into normal. You see the changes I made in that block is also affected here. Not just here. I can show you my entire drawing here. See, wherever I use the same block, the changes happened there. So did you all understand what is happening here? Yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, anybody has any questions on what I did here? So I have a set of blocks. So if I make change in one block, it is going to make the change in all the blocks. But this is going to, there is a difference again here. So when I come to edit, I'll how to edit the blocks. So what I do here is when I'm editing, these changes happens only here in this file. It is not happening to the master object where I created the file. Okay. So let's see this again. Is there any questions? I did not pay attention. Okay. Now this is a different editor, not this. So similarly, if I have a group, I cannot do this. So if I'm making a change in that particular group, that change is not going to get reflected. I'm just undoing the things that I did here. It's not going to get reflected when I do that in a group. So that's a huge difference and advantage when it comes to groups and blocks. So now I think you know how it is, easier to use a block and group. Okay, back to our thing. Any questions on this? Okay, so you should know, when to create a block and when to create a group depending on your drawing. Next is how are we going to create a CAD block. So I can show you that here, but let me say a few things that you need to remember. So when you are creating a CAD block, you should always, do it on a layer 0 and set the properties to by layer. The reason behind this is because when a CAD block is inserted, it brings that, the layer properties along with that. And if there is a similar layer name, so there might be a clash there. Okay, so you may never know what kind of layers you have in that drawing. So, but the layer properties are going to remain the same. So it's always better to, go to layer, set the layer to 0 and set the properties to by layer. So when the block is coming in, it's going to be on layer 0, but the properties will not change. So it will stay as it is. And to start the command, you have to type B. So that's your shortcut. Or you can go to your menu on the top, and I'll show you. You have the insert command, and in the insert command, you can do that. And then you have to give a name to the block. But before you all do this, you should have all your objects ready. What you are going to, you have to create your objects, create your block as objects and keep it ready. So when you just give your name, you also have to specify insertion point. So you are going to insert your blocks similar to your, when you're copying it, you select a point and keep copying it over. So you select an insertion point where it's going to be inserted. So that will be the point where it moves along with the cursor. So if you see this image here, you see this cursor. So where you pick the point, that is going to be the point you see, and your image will be around that point. And then you pick the point, and the next is you have to select all those objects. So you go and select the objects that you want to include in the block. And then you have you have the select objects option here, and then you have to select your units. So this is a very important thing, because if you don't do this, it is not going to fit into your any drawings. You cannot do scaling, or you cannot, it's going to be a very weird scale. So never forget this step. So you have to do your unit setting, because in AutoCAD we are not working on scales, right? It's just taking whatever we are giving, and then the scale is set by us, the units and scale. So the same thing happens for a CAD block. Just because you have the units set in the drawing, you don't take it for granted that it's going to reflect in your block. So it might be different. So you always, set your units and then you save it. Okay. So let me show you how to create a block. So I have this north point here. So if you're having this version, I don't know what version you're having, you go to insert, and then you see create block here. So your block and block definition will be here. If you already have a block, you go to insert and you find your blocks, or you find your blocks from your libraries. I'll show you that later. So now we are going to create a block. So when you create a block, okay, there are two things here. First, let's see, create a block. This is the uh, window that's going to pop up. So let's give a name here. Let me say true north, and then the base point. So I need to pick the point, the insertion point. So I'm going to pick the point. This is going to be my point where I'm going to, every time I'm going to put that, and then I can scale or rotate it. And then I select my objects. So this is why I said you should have all your objects ready before you start creating it. And then you see here, the dialog box here. So my objects, all the objects that I've selected have come here. Now this is the settings I was talking about, the units. So by default, it should take it, but it's always better to check your setting here and then click OK. So now if I hover over it, you see this has become a block now. So let me say insert recent blocks. So I'm having my recent blocks here. So here's my true north. Right. So insert. Now this, can you see this here? Let me close this window. You see my cursor point. So the point that I picked as an insertion point or the base point. So that is where my cursor will bring my object or block here. So I can place this wherever I want. And that's how you insert the block. Okay. So this is how you create block. And there's something called write block. So write block is, as I told you that you can have your own library of blocks here in a different file. So you write, it says, save the select objects or converts a block to a specified drawing file. So if you want to save it in a separate file, then you use your write block command. So here you'll have a file name here where you can save your block. But the settings are the same. You select the drawings, you have a base point, you select the objects, you have your units, and you know where you are going to save it. So you can select where you want to save it, and you can use it after that from there. So when you save the location, just remember where you are saving this, and then you use that. Similarly, when you are having libraries, AutoCAD by default, I don't think it comes with libraries, but there is something called block palette. So that will be there in, let me see, I have to find my Autodesk here first. So if you go into, not this libraries, my computer, where is my computer? My Autodesk, and I have my AutoCAD. So here you usually have that. I don't think I have that. No, it doesn't come here. So you can have your, it is available. I am not sure if it's available. So you have a library separately, which you can import it, and you can have it as your library, or you can create your own library there. So you decide where you want to save it. Just create these blocks and just, save it. So even if you're not creating it separately and doing it while you're doing the drawing, whenever you create it, you can always save it in a different file, a separate file, and then you can use those files later when you're using in a different drawing or different project or anything like that. Okay, any questions so far? All right. So yeah, if you this is very easy to, if you're familiar with groups, you should be able to do your blocks also. So before we go into the block, I will also want to let you practice. I also want to explain how to modify a CAD block. Okay, So this block, when it comes inside, so if you're not created it, somebody else has created it, or you got it, down from somewhere, or somebody else shared it with you. And when you're using it in your design or in your drawing, you might want to, make a few changes or always edit it and things like that. So to do that, you have, actually three ways you can do it. You can double click on a block, and you can click on the block, right click and choose block editor. I think you saw one or two. I'll explain that again from the context menu. And then you go to the insert tab and you have the block definition panel, and you select block editor from the ribbon. So let me show that here again. So let's say we have this block here, right? So if I want to edit this block, I just double click on this and shows me what the block name is, and I click OK. Now this is where I edit. This is called a block editor. You see the background changed. It's not the white background anymore. So this shows that I'm working on a different area. So this is your block editor. So you see here at the top, the ribbons. So you have a new tab opened here as block editor. You normally wouldn't have that. Let me close this again. Let me show you. You see, after featured apps, you don't have anything here. There is no other tab here. So once I double click on this, you see there's a new, yes, here it is. So there is a new block editor showing here on the tab. So this is another new tab that has opened up. So now you can make whatever changes you want to make here. And then you have to close the block editor. So let me make a change here. Let me just erase these lines. Sorry. So when I make some changes, when I say close block editor, it will ask me this. Do I want to save the changes to the bed new, or I have to discard the changes? So if I say save changes, it's going to save all those changes, and this tab will get closed. You see there is no more block editor tab here, and I see the changes here on my blocks. So as I told you, when I do the changes in one block, it's going to change all the blocks, so you don't see those vertical lines in any of the drawings here. Excuse me. Okay. That's one way. So double click on the block. So I'm going to undo this. So let me get back my block as it is. So the second way, as I told you, so you click on the block, right click your mouse button, and then you have the option block editor. So you can select from here. Again, it will take you to your block editor, and you can make your changes. You have all sorts of options here: edit the block, save the block, test the block, and things like that. So test the block will be like, it will give you a preview of what is going to be there. See, when I did the close editor, it did not prompt me for saving the block or saving the changes, because I did not make any changes. So unless you make the changes, it is not going to prompt you. So that was the second thing. You double click and click on it, right click and then block editor. And the other option is you go to this insert tab here next to your home tab, and you have the block definition. That's your second panel. Here you have the block editor. So I click on that, and it will give me the list of blocks I have. So even if you don't have that block there, so yeah, my true north is here. So I click on that, again my block editor will open. So this is where it's safe to make your changes, and you can save it. And when you're saving it, you can also save it as a different file also. Make create a new block also. So this is how you edit your block. Can you adjust the size without changing the block? You mean scale the block? Yes, you can scale the block. So when you're inserting the block, you can, give your sizes, and you can do it. So this is how you edit the block. And The next thing I wanted to tell you is nested objects in block. So I told you, right, when you have a set of blocks and then you have, I don't think I have it on the bed here. They are all created as one thing. Okay, let me show this one then. I have a dining table here, right? I was talking about the dining set. So let me click on that. And so you see this one, this is your block. And you see this nest here. So if I open this, I have my individual chairs here. Okay. And then I named. So when I click on that name, it's this whole unit. Can you see that difference? So this is this whole unit. And then it's nested within that. So which means these are all, see, can you see those dotted lines there? I don't know if I can. Let me zoom in. Okay, so when I click on that, so what I'm doing here is I'm using a command called nest in place. Sorry, edit block in place, where I can see my nested objects here. So you see this plus or minus sign. So this is a toggle that can, expand or collapse the nest. So this is my whole block. So within the block, I have these objects. You see the color changes here. So this, the one that is in dotted line, this is the chair that is of this block. Now see, it changes here. Now this has become this. Can you follow this? Can you see these dotted lines, right? So this is your whole block. So if you are creating with, separate lines, arcs, so everything will show up in that. Let me see if I have that. These blocks were not created by me, so I'm not very sure. This is not a nested block. They have made it as a, maybe they made it as a group before they did the block. Yes, even star doesn't have that. Let me see if this one has. I hardly doubt. Oh, sorry. See, again, now I wanted to, okay, since I've come here, let me show this. Now this one is already a block, right? Now we are in a block editor. Now you see here again, this carpet, rug, whatever it is, rug. So this is again a block. So if I right click, it says block editor is there. Again, this chair is a different block. This is so you see in this block, they have combined a group of blocks to make a separate block. They did not do a group. They made a block because they know that they are going to repeatedly use it because it's a series of apartments. So then they know they are not going to use the same setup. So they don't want to go and put each chairs, sofa separately, and then the run, the this flower pot and all these things. So they created a block out of it, and they have used it in this drawing. You see it here, you see it here. So it depends on what drawing you're working. So this is what a block is. So nested block, I don't have much example to show you other than this thing. So do you understand what the nested block, what the nested items or nested objects in a block mean? Yes, okay. You can use your emojis here in your chat. You can use a thumbs up too, or any of the emojis you want to use. Okay, good, good. Thank you. So I'm sorry I'm asking you to do this yes or no things because I'm here. I'm not even seeing your faces because I'm presenting. I don't even know whether, you're there or it's reaching you or not. In a class environment, it's different. So bear with me here. So this is how you, create blog, edit blog and things like that. And what was I about to tell you? No, I was trying to find some other nested object. No, bad luck. So this is a wrong file that I took. Okay, so you'll find that. So when you create, right, when you create it, do not group them. So just create with all the lines and arcs and all the polylines, whatever you use for your block, you do that. And then when you select all those objects, So you will see all those lines and arcs that you used as a nested object within your block. And then we have, what else we have? Okay, how to use a block in a drawing. Okay, so we're going to go over the same thing again. I did not show you edit block in place. So first thing we do is, if it is not a block that you created it, or even the block that you created, so depending on the drawing that you're going to use. So if you have a block, you can modify it by exploding it first. So you explode the drawing, so the block vanishes and it becomes again a set of objects, and then you do whatever modifications you want, and then suggested is recreate a block. Okay, so do the same block option, give a different name or even the same name, up to you. So you recreate the block. That is one way that you use it in a drawing. And then you can use a block editor like I showed you, or you can use a edit block in place. So that's what I used. So the edit block in place is click on the block, right click it, and then you can use your edit block in place. So click on it, right click it, so you have the option. Okay, it's okay, you need to do this. Okay, so you have all these options when you click on the block, and right click, you have block editor and you have edit block in place. So now edit block in place, it is very similar to your block editor, but the only difference is you can edit it on the drawing itself wherever you have it. So this is what I did when I showed you what is the difference between a block and a group. I used edit block in place so that you can see what is happening here, because my settings, my block editor is gray background and I'm not able to see anything there. So it will be really hard for you. So when you can try all the different ways you can edit the block. So when I do edit in place, the reason I would use edit in place is because I want to see where I'm working. So I want to make the modifications depending on the place that I'm going to place it on a drawing. So if I have something around this place and I have to move this or modify this or scale it up or rotate it, so all those things, I need to see what is happening in my drawing too. So if I want to do all those things along with the drawing, then I use edit block in place. Apart from that, if I'm just doing something else, completely changing an object there, or I'm going to bring in anything else, then I do it in a block editor. All right. So, so even in when you use edit block in place, you will not see this, a new tab here, block editor will not pop up, but you have all the similar features that you see there. And you have here, you can save your changes, you can discard your changes. That's almost in your, the top right corner of the ribbon. And then this is your edit reference, right? So you can also add objects to this set, or you can remove it from the set. So this is like, more like manipulating your group, but it is in a block. Always remember that. So if you make any change here, it's going to be reflected in all the places where I've used this block. So it's more like your, find and replace command if you have used in Word. So it's more similar to that. So I'm going to discard my changes here. So all reference edits will be discarded. So if I want to do that, I have to click OK, or I can go back and save. So I don't want any other changes, so I'm saying OK. Now when you look at the command, let's look at the command here. Okay. So I did not show you all the commands, right? So when I say edit block in place, this is what you get. It's called ref edit. That's your command. See here, REFEDIT. So if you're familiar with using your keyboard and you're used to typing things, so you have to use ref edit to do edit block in place. Okay. And then for block editor, your command, your type will be bedit, block edit. So bedit is going to open up your block editor, and then you can work here. Now to create a block, I told you, like, you can go to insert and you say create block, right? So when you're typing here, it's going to be, okay, cancel this. it's block, or you can also type B. B will open your new block. To create a new block, your command is going to be B. Okay. So you also, it's always good to use, keyboard shortcuts. It's faster that way, instead of going and clicking on this, it saves time. So you need to know these things. Do you all use your keyboard shortcuts? How many of you use your keyboard shortcuts? Hands raised, please. Okay. Yes, you're right. You keep trying, Robert. Good, good. Okay. Yeah, we are all used to, go up and pull down and do things like that in, Microsoft Word. So that's AutoCAD is always better when you use shortcuts. Try starting with the small things. Now try using this Control S to save immediately, because that is something that you have to keep doing repeatedly. If you don't save, you lose a lot of things. So Control S, start with things like, Control S, and start using things like, use L for line when you're drawing, and erase, and Control Z, Control X for copy, paste, undo. You know that, right? Control C for copy, Control V for paste, Control Z for undo. Sorry, Control X for undo, Control Z for redo. So things like that. Those small things which we keep repeatedly doing. Redo, undo, copy, paste. So start using the small shortcuts, and then you'll be very familiar to use things like that. Okay, so these are the shortcuts for block. So you type B, your block editor will open, and until you get used to it, the block editor is here in your tabs in the top next to your home tab. You have insert, and then you have create block. I have just one more slide. I'll finish this, and we can try practicing this. Okay, there is also this. Sorry, coming back to using the block. Sorry, edit block in place, right? There's also a reinsert block. So reinsert block is when you have a different file for your block, you can go to your master file, you can make changes there. You don't have to make any changes in your drawing, make changes there. But the problem is those changes will not reflect in your drawing. You have to reinsert those blocks. So always remember that just because you're making a change in your master drawing is not going to reflect here. So why are we doing all these things? Because we have to always make sure that even though the block is going to save a lot of space and time, you always make sure that you don't import, too many layers when you are bringing your blocks down. So try to keep the blocks, properties minimal. This happens because when you download, from some other place, or somebody else is sharing the block with you, you never know what they have done with that block, right? So it's always better to, open that block and work with it, see what are the layers you have, anything you need or you don't need. So make all those changes and bring it here. So that is your reinsert block. So you are making the changes in a different file and then bringing it here, or once you bring it here, you make the changes here before you keep using it again and again. Okay, so that's why this is how you actually use a block. So make sure that you do not overload your drawing. Now the last but not the least, we have pre-made blocks. I keep telling, right, download the file. So you download the blocks. So there are a number of CAD blocks available, free. You have available in these are the lists there. I will share this presentation with you so you can use this. You click on this, it will take you there. And these are like, let me show one of that for you. CAD forum. Okay, I did not go there. Can you see this website, CAD forum? I'm able to see it here. Okay, it opened in a different thing. No, you're not seeing that. Let me bring this here. It opened in a different screen. Okay, you should be able to see this now. Can you see this now? Yes. So when I clicked on that, it took me to this website. So here you see we have CAD and BIM blocks. You see the leftmost side, I'm showing it. So if you click on that, you have so many libraries here. You can use 3D CAD models, you have Revit, you have Inventor. We are doing 2D or 3D for AutoCAD. So AutoCAD DWG blocks, so it has to have this extension DWG, otherwise it will not open in AutoCAD. Okay, so make sure about that whenever you do that. And if whatever thing you are using, you know, you have architecture, electrical, mechanical, and mapping. So let's see, in architecture you have again annotation symbols, bathroom, bedroom. So if I click on bedroom, you see beds with lighting. So this is all more of 3D. You also have 2D here. You see this. You can just download this. You need to, I need to be a you know, I have to register here. I've not done that here. So you can download this and you can use it in your thing. So this is what I was talking about. So when you're downloading this, this block is going to be, you know, the size is going to be, see, 6.4 MB. So this already it's too heavy. So I would suggest you work on your block, see what you need and don't need, discard them, check your layers and things like that. Minimize the size of the block and then use in your drawing. So this is one website. And then we have manufacturers like, you know, steel case. I mean, people who manufacture these furnitures, people who manufacture windows, doors, and people who create stuff, they also have CAD blocks available. So this is steel case. So they are selling office chairs, furniture, desks, tables, storage. So they are a commercial a furniture company. So they have, go back. Okay, I changed it. Okay. So they have 3D models and CAD for their product. So if you go into the product and then when you go into the specifications, specs of it or product details, then you will get into your whatever you're looking for. So if I see this, so now I have so many materials, so many varieties. So if I click on one of this, now it gives me what is the table I have. You can see whether how you want it to look like, whether you like this product or not. And then here in the download, you have these options. So this will change for every manufacturer. So you have, you know, you have it as an image. You can use it in a presentation. You have CAD here. So you want a DWG file. The XF file is also an AutoCAD file, and you have 3DX. 3DS, that's why, because this is 3D one, right? So 3DS is 3D Max, 3D Studio Max. Heard of that? So they can use this even in that. So when they create, they don't just create for AutoCAD. Sometimes they create for multiple things. They create it for Revit. They create it for SketchUp. So many things they create. This particular thing, they can use it in an AutoCAD file as well as in a thing, and it's a 3D product. So if it's a 3D product, you can also use it for an AutoCAD 3D too. So this, you just click on the download and you can download. This will download as a separate file. Then you can insert it into your you save all of these things as a library of sorts in one particular folder. You put all your same things and you can insert that into your AutoCAD. Just go here, you know, you have block, insert, blocks from libraries. Let me see if I can download this. And okay, let me see if I download this, what happens. Okay, you see the file got downloaded here. So I think it should have gone to downloads folder. You can move it to any folder that you want. So now if I go here and select blocks from libraries, I can go to my downloads. Where is my downloads? Oh, I can see my downloads here. Oh yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm not able to see that. It's not a different. So you selected that way. Let me do it. Where is that? Let's see. Let me put it in documents. Let me see if I can find it in this downloads. Oh, okay. This is the downloads I was looking for. So this folder is empty. Insert blocks from libraries. Yeah, I have this file here. So I open it. Okay. And you have it here. Okay. So it's getting downloaded. So this is how you download and you can use it in your drawing. See, I've got a whole set of details here. Not just because, see, my legs are separate here, the top is separate, the frame is different. So I can use it as a whole block, or if I have to use it separately, I have all the options here. So just click on that, insert. Now this is it. Okay, I did not specify. Let me do that. So the scale, so units and all is here. So when I bring it here, insert. So you see my thing here, no? It's a base point, a scale. So you see the different in the colors. So if I use those letters when I'm typing here, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do yes here. So you see the scale factor here next to my cursor. So maybe I give it 10. So it's scaling up. So if I say B, it's going to give me the base point, and I paste it there. So I can go and try some other base point, and my base point has changed. You see, previously the base point was different. Now the base point is different. So this is how you copy, download something, and then you can use it in your drawing. And when you're bringing in itself, you can make your changes here in this pop-up window here. You have whatever scale you want to change. You can change it. Any rotation angle you have to see. So you can also, this is what I said, explode. Okay, I did not show you the explode thing, right? Okay, let me show you. So once you put it here, right? What is the command you use for explode? Anybody knows how to use the explode command? Yes. Yes, Kenneth, the file had to be scaled because that's what I said. The AutoCAD doesn't know what is the unit you're going to use, and it's a generic download, right? So they do not have any scale or anything. When you know what you're creating and what you want, then you can do it as per your scale. Now coming back to explode, yes. For explode, you use the command X and select the object. So now you see my here, X here. See, keep watching my uh, command prompt here. Okay, X, and it's exploded. Now if I click on that, you see previously everything was one whole block. Now all the objects are separate. Notice here that the chairs are still in a block because this was a block within a block. So the chairs are still the same block. So again, if I have to explode it, I can also use my thing here, right click, and then you'll have your command here, or as always, type X, select your object, and now the nested block was not exploded. You see the chair here, which was nested, is still a block. Now I exploded here this chair, and now this is individual objects. You see that? So that's how you use it. So now I wanted to say something here. So I was talking about keyboard shortcuts, right? So when I did X, you see I've got a list of options here. What and all comes with X. So I can choose this. So until you are getting used to that, you can try something like that. Yes, nested block with the chairs. See, that's what we are trying to do here. So when you're bringing a new block into your drawing, don't use it as it is. That's the point here. So don't use it as it is. Explore that and see what it is. So I would suggest, opening it in a new file, and and then work on that block and then bring it to your drawing. So that's why we are using this block command. Even though it's nested, it will explode any object, it will explode. So that's the power of that command. So it doesn't mean nested blocks do not explode. Now let me see if the scaling works. Oh, it's going somewhere else. Okay, somebody asked if we can scale blocks. So this is how we scale. Right, I'm able to scale it. See that? Now this is a if I'm going to explode it, what do I have here? So the things that we saw, right? They have created the legs as a block. They have created this frame as a block, and then they've created the tabletop as a block, and then they put this together. So they've created nested block. Okay, maybe if I see here, let me see. See, you see your blocks here. This is what I was wanted to show you. This is what nested block is. So there is a nest within a nest. So this is your whole object, and within this you again have these nests of blocks inside that. Okay, so this is what you can find all kinds of furnitures, all kind of windows, all kind of doors. You can find all kinds of CAD blocks that is available in your websites. So I prefer to use ARC-189 because ARC-189 has a wide range of things. They have many CAD details. So you see here, you have CAD details, you have BIM details, you have all sorts of building products there. So you have, furnishings, casework, you have murals, sculptures, window treatments. So this is what I'm talking about. Not just windows, window treatments. You have window blinds, curtains and drapes. Again, you have the casework. Then furnishing and accessories. You have table accessories too, ceramics, flatware, portable lamps. This is a huge collection they have here. I always like this ARC-189 for blocks. The furnishings, you have electrical, you have plumbing, you name it, you'll have it here. So we are only looking at division 12, which is for furnishing manufacturers. So you have so many other CSI divisions here. See, you have concrete, even materials, you have anything you want, it's there in ARC-189. So I always prefer to use this one, and you can find your own. If you want a particular manufacturer, so if the client asks for a particular manufacturer thing, you can go to the manufacturer and they should have, most of them have. Sometimes you might not get one, so you can use something else. So that's about CAD blocks. So I'm stopping the recording now. So if you have any questions. Okay, your assignment is going to be, you're going to, I don't want you to create a block. So you can find this, I will, you can find blocks, try to find blocks by yourselves, and try to change the block in a unique way. Okay, you can also create a block if you are capable of doing that, but it's going to take a long time. So I would suggest, download a block, any block that you want, and something related to what you're doing now, or the project that you're doing now, and modify the block, say, and save it, copy it and then modify the block. So we will see what are the two different blocks that you have made. Modify the block and in a unique way. Let's see what you can come up with. Okay, this is the assignment, and Francis will be checking that in your next class, and that's going to be assignment. And now I'm going to be here. We have one more hour of class, so you can try working on your CAD block. You can simply create a small create a dining set, just do a rectangle table, sizes of tables, right? So create your own, a table. Don't do any other detailing. Do a table and chairs around it in any design you want. I would suggest just go with, small squares around the table and create a block. Okay, I'm going to be here. Let's take another 15 minutes and I want you to create a dining set, and you can present and show me your AutoCAD drawing. You all have access to CAD right now, right? Anybody has any problem with that? Anybody who doesn't have access to AutoCAD in the right now? Can you please put up your hands? So everybody can use it, right? Okay, so now it's 10:20. Yes, you all can create the same thing. So this is how to create a CAD block. So to understand, so if everybody go in a different way, there are going to be too many questions. So let's start simple. Just create a dining table, a rectangular table with small squares as your chairs. So you can have, six to eight chairs, however you want to arrange it. So something that I showed you here. Let me see. Is my share here? I will share this again. Let me show you something like a simple one. This is not a simple one. Something like this, this one, but with not all the details. Just do a rectangular table and then you put squares around it. But stick to the scale, in whatever drawing you're using it. Stick to the scale, the size of a dining table, right? What is the size of a dining table? Anybody has an idea? 2 more minutes, quick. 5 feet. Okay, 5 feet is your length of the table. What's the width? 5 feet by, dining table is not one size, right? It has two dimensions. 5 feet by 3 feet. Okay. It's more like 2 3/4. Let's go with 3 feet. Let's do a rectangle of a dining table with, very good, Kenneth. So let's take the measurement that Kenneth has given. Oh, why am I not able to see that? Can everybody see Kenneth's thing? Okay, I am having some trouble here. Okay. No. Oh, he shared only with me, right? Okay. Let me see that. Oh, okay. Let me share that with you. And before that, let me first stop the recording. Why am I not?